Hello everyone, my name is Antonious Sidarous and this is my practice presentation for week 1. One big idea from the lesson is that everyone has different lived experiences, but we also share universal human experiences. For example, I grew up in an Egyptian household where respect for elders is very important. When I talk to my dad, I never interrupt him. I wait until he finishes before responding. But when I'm with my close friends, I speak way more casually and we interrupt each other all the time. That difference shows how culture and relationships shape how I communicate. Another major concept was shared human physiology, like hunger, heat, pain, and breathing, and how those affect communication. I remember during a summer workout when it was over 100 degrees outside, everyone was exhausted, and when I spoke, my sentences were very short and way more urgent. I wasn't thinking about being persuasive, my body was just reacting to the heat. Another example is when I've gone to a gym after a long day of school without eating enough. A friend tried having a serious conversation with me, but I could barely focus. I gave short answers because I was hungry and tired. That showed me how physical needs affect how well we communicate. I also noticed this during a STEM expo. One time I was presenting and rushing through my explanation. I literally ran out of breath mid sentence. Once I slowed down and controlled breathing, my message sounded way more clear and more confident. The lesson also talked about certainty versus uncertainty. I definitely relate to that. When teachers give us unclear instructions for a project, I feel stressed and keep rereading everything. But when the expectations are clearly laid out step by step, I feel calm and confident. Clear communication reduces uncertainty. Another concept was neuroplasticity, how our brains adapt when we experience something new. I used to think public speaking was just memorizing information, but after competing in STEM and getting feedback from judges, I realized delivery, pacing, and engagement matter just as much. My understanding of communication changed because of the experiences I had. The lesson also explained concrete versus abstract thinking. A concrete example would be describing dehydration by talking about the dry throat, dizziness, and headache I felt after intense workouts. An abstract version would be connecting that experience to the bigger idea that human survival needs shape behavior. Good communication blends both. Individually, Individuality and autonomy were also important. I remember being in a group project where one person tried controlling every decision. I felt less motivated to speak because it didn't feel like my input mattered. Once we split responsibilities evenly, I felt more comfortable um, contributing to this project. Respecting autonomy makes communication more effective. The lesson also discussed commonality and social connection. When I found out someone in one of my classes goes to the same gym as me, I instantly felt more comfortable talking to him. That small shared experience built a connection right away. Another concept was symbolic interaction, how meaning is created through shared symbols. For example, when someone texts bet, I understand it is agreement. But if I said that to my parents, they think I'm talking about gambling. So meaning depends on shared understanding. Finally, denotative versus connotative meaning. Denotative meaning is the literal definition. Connotative meaning is the emotional association. The word competition literally just means a contest, but for me, it reminds me of placing second in STEM twice. It brings pride and frustration at the same time. That emotional association changes how I react to that word. Overall, this lesson made me realize that communication isn't just about what we say, it's shaped by biology, psychology, culture, experience, and shared meaning. Thank you.